Halloween.
Forever.
Hey, did you guys hear about that guy in Texas that invented that new chainsaw that's powered with sodium chloride and AA batteries?
No, Brian. What about the guy who invented the chainsaw?
I don't
that's
know.
powered?
I didn't read the rest of it. I did see that he was charged with assault and battery. Welcome, pew, 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 boys and girls, to another fucking
I'm actually going to grab my
minisode
chainsaw right now.
of Halloween's Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I am Steve.
That was not my best work.
No.
It was a long way to walk.
Yeah. I didn't come up with a joke. I started looking at jokes. I combined two not funny jokes, and turns out two wrongs do not make a right. So let's move on. Pretend it didn't happen. Guys, we are going to talk about the recently released. In fact, we're recording this on Saturday. It'll come out on Monday. It just came out last night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it last night. You watched it yesterday, Steve.
I watched it during my lunch break.
Yeah. Meg, you watched it this morning.
I watched it this morning. Yeah.
A nice Saturday wake up, little cup of coffee.
Yeah, I got
and
real cozy in bed, eating some sausage and eggs,
Yeah.
and then blood.
Yeah. And
Everywhere.
then somebody gets stabbed in the neck with their shattered forearm bone. We are going to talk about the brand new Netflix released Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. They did that thing everyone does,
Mhm.
which just name it the original movie.
Yes.
Yeah, like Halloween or Candyman. So you got to say Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022.
Well, technically, Brian, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre had a separation between chain and saw in the title card,
That's true.
where
That-
this one has chainsaw as a forward.
That's true. That's true. To obviously, keep in line with the modern parlance. I mean, there is a lot in this movie that they were really, really desperately trying to keep up to speed with Gen X parlance. And boy, was it cringy. But we'll get into it. We haven't talked a lot about, how we felt about it overall. I'll throw my quick spoiler in here. I thought it sucked shit, but I don't know how you guys felt about it.
I didn't.
You
And
liked it?
I am perplexed at how many people hate this movie. So
I didn't
that's what
hate. Let's put it this way: I didn't hate. I wasn't
Well,
mad that I watched it,
yeah.
but it wasn't good.
not just
Yeah.
not
It was
just,
a little bit
yeah,
fun.
not just you. Like the internet has exploded with the hate
People
for it.
really fucking hate it. Yeah, I
It's
wouldn't
very
say
divisive.
I hated it, but I thought it was genuinely bad.
I didn't love it.
Yeah, you really?
No,
let's
I really
get-
like it.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. There are things to like, and I will say I have softened just overnight. Kind of woke up thinking about it and was like, it's not as bad as maybe I thought. But
Mhm.
in any case, when you have what I would consider to be a masterpiece of horror, one of my all-time favorite movies, and you call it the exact same thing and make it basically a continuation of that first movie. You got tall order in front of you, I guess. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
in any case, we will get into that. But we've got a couple of things before. We'll talk about some beers. We got some snackies. We also have we have to announce what our topic is
Mhm.
for the March Showdown, because Yin's helped us vote on that. So we do have an answer, and we will announce that here briefly. But before we do that, let's talk about some beers. What beers do you got?
Meg, why don't you go first?
Okay, guys. I've got a gentleman's agreement, and if anyone watches How I Met Your Mother, you would understand that. By Log Yard up in Kane, PA. It's saying it's American India Pale Ale. I mean, for gravity, sure, it can fall into IPA, but I feel like it's a little bit more mellow. It's nice, smooth, like I don't know, not totally what I would call an American Pale Ale, which I don't know if we really want to diagnose the differences in IPAs anymore, but yeah, definitely not as hoppy as a lot of American IPAs that I would put into that. And but I don't dislike it. I actually kind of like it. It's nice and smooth and stuff like that. So
Does it have an interesting hop profile, or is it just Citra Mosaic? Or
yeah, it seems just pretty basic, honestly. If you said there was a Cascade in this, I'd be like, yep.
okay, yeah, sure, fair enough. Yeah, so some people are going extra with their hop profiles, some people aren't, and I know Log Yard does a whole shitload of different
Yeah, and I
IPAs,
like a
so-
lot of their stuff
Yeah,
in
yeah.
general. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember having a couple of their IPAs and feeling pretty good about them.
mhm.
Yeah, I don't think I really had a bad beer from them. Well, no, there is one I didn't care for that much, but it was like a shandy.
Mm.
But like I'm still a big fan of their Buck and Birch, which I don't see that much anymore.
I don't think I know what that one is.
It was like a birch beer flavored, but it wasn't
Oh, okay.
it wasn't made with birch beer syrup or anything.
Yeah.
It was
They
just
actually
like a
use the
super
root.
herbal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was made with like all the herbs and everything. It was like a really herbally brown ale that, obviously it stuck out because
Yeah.
how many birch flavored beers are there in the world?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was a really good beer, but I don't see it that much anymore.
That's not something I would necessarily gravitate towards, but I do love a birch beer, a root
Mhm.
beer, a sarsaparilla. I've been obsessed with these little root beer hard candies that I've just been
Fuck yeah,
eating.
dude.
Yeah.
And it's like I literally go to like the old person's grocery store
Mhm.
just so I can go get these bags of these old fashioned root beer candies.
That's like definitely a penny candy type thing too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love root beer barrels, but these are even better because they don't have the like unpleasing initial texture of the root beer barrel.
Yeah.
Like the individual staves of said barrel, have
Are
all
they-
these little tiny
Are
textures in.
they just like the square ribbon candy root beers?
No, they're
Oh,
more
okay.
like they're like drop looking. They're almost
Oh,
like
okay.
a lemon drop
Mm.
shape. So they're kind of
okay.
a little bit more pleasing in your cheek than like I
Yeah.
said, the jagged ends of a rustic barrel.
It's not like Captain Crunch esque.
No, it's not tearing your mouth up or nothing like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I've went through about 3 bags of them in the last 3 weeks, which may or may not be a problem. What do you got, Steve?
I have candy.
Yeah, you do.
Abjuration, a brewery that I very much love, they have a candied sour series. So they make a whole bunch of beers with candy, like literally just throwing cotton candy, Swedish Fish, Skittles, all of that. Everything that people would make fun of and hate, they do. And I and I don't care because it still tastes great to me.
I feel like as adults, we're definitely embracing how much we love candy. And we're
Mm-hmm.
saying "fuck you" to being healthy.
Yeah.
I was at John Eagle a few weeks
John
ago, and I
Hey,
was
Dan,
just,
Johnny Eagle.
I was just in the dairy aisle, and this guy was going up to everyone. I don't know if he kind of like almost like he was lost. Like he
Okay.
walked up to me and he's like, "Do you know where the Skittle yogurt is?" And I'm just like, but did that to like 3 other people in the aisle. We're like, I don't work here, bro. Like, but I mean, this guy
Are
had
you
to.
that desperate that you're just asking strangers in the
Yeah.
grocery store where the Skittle yogurt is? It's not like, where's the pharmacy? I need my medicine.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Skittle yogurt.
Yeah.
Goddamn Joe Brandon, where's my Skittle yogurt?
Goddamn Joe Brandon.
But yeah, no, this candied sour is from their like slushy series, which they've done a number of, and they did a cherry one, which it tastes exactly like cherry slushy. This one's fruit punch. It's okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. The fruit punch is okay. I really love the cherry one though. So
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, it looks like Swedish Fish melted in a glass, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's weird because I love candy. I love junk food of all kinds. I very rarely like really sweet beer.
Mm.
Yeah.
I almost
I can understand that.
exclusively like, what the kids call beer flavored beer nowadays, which is beer.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's testament to what I'm drinking right now. I'm drinking a blend actually of a dark lager. Both beers from Sly Fox Brewing, which I drank last week, which I didn't mention and probably should because there's a high degree of likelihood I'll be drinking a lot of Sly Fox beers. But I'm now employed by Sly Fox Brewing Company, so that stands to reason. But I'm drinking so hashtag EMP is what I'm saying.
Right.
But these beers do fucking rip. I'm not gonna lie. Sly Fox Black Lager, which has a little black flag
Super dope.
reference on the can, which is pretty cool. Really kind of nice, clean, super drinkable, but has a real nice kind of complex roast character to it. Not burnt, ashy. It's more kind of like round and just little tiny bit of like kind of this campfire toast to it. And then this beer, Meg, that you're holding over there is fucking sick, which is it's called Reality Check. It's a Czech 10 degree pale lager, kind of a Keller Pilsner, Czech Pilsner, if you will. Under 4%. like fairly aggressively hopped. I think it's all Sauser hops though. And it just like you could just drink it for fucking ever. So I'm blending them in an effort to basically test out my theory that these two beers can be combined together in a lovely way to make kind of a Czech Polo Tomave lager. And so far, so good. So I'm drinking kind of at 30% black lager, 70% reality check, I think. So beer flavored beer.
And we're only a couple weeks, maybe a week or two off Henry Rollins' birthday. So
there you go.
Yeah.
You know,
We're
I was
doing
a
this
big
for the
Black
Rollins.
Flag fan as a kid. Like, still love Black Flag. You know, listen, I own several books written by Henry Rollins. I have a sneaking suspicion that he is still insufferable in real life.
Probably, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like, I like everything he does for the most part.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling if I met him, I would severely dislike him.
I met him after one of his speaking engagements.
Mhm.
And he wasn't like, he was just very humble and everything. So
Yeah.
he wasn't insufferable at that point because he's just interacting with fans.
Yeah.
But then I've also seen him interact with people like on IFC shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, he does seem
Like a douche.
he seems like if you're not in line with him,
Yeah.
he'll get on your nerves. But if you're in line with him,
Yeah.
then you'll be the best of friends.
Yeah. Henry Rollins, I have a sneaking suspicion that Henry Rollins feels very strongly about Henry Rollins.
Mhm.
You know
Oh,
what
yeah,
I
for
mean?
sure.
Like, he probably is like, feels.
He knows.
Yeah, he's digging him some Henry Rollins. Which,
I caught him in Buffalo doing a speaking engagement thing, and when I walked away from that, seeing him live, I was like, it was like watching him like perform as a musician,
Right.
but as a speaker. Like his stance was like as if he was just ready to
he's
like
got the power
fight.
stance.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
kind of did that the entire time.
Yeah, he was flexing a lot,
Yeah.
like neck veins popping.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have made like a conscious effort to not meet people that I like, and like especially musicians, because I've been disappointed so many times.
Yeah.
Not all the time. Plenty of times where people were really, really fantastic. But I used to work at a comedy club, and it was every comedian is either hot or cold. They either just want to hang out and party and drink and get stoned until the wee hours of the morning, or they are like just want to have nothing to do with anyone. They want to walk on stage, do their set, walk off, go to their hotel room, and just that's it, right?
Right.
So I got used to that, and you could feel that out right off the bat. But then, like, going to shows and stuff, the one that really made me gun shy is I love the Hold Steady, and my friend Mark, who's like the genuinely nicest guy in the world. Like, if you don't like Mark, like, there's probably something wrong with you. He's super nice. I always say, like, if somebody didn't like me, I'd be like, yeah, fair enough. But if you don't like Mark, like, fuck you, you're an idiot. He's just sweetest, nicest, funniest guy. And he's a huge fan too of the Hold Steady. And he went and saw them in Milwaukee, and he went into the bar. It was like a real small show. And Craig Finn was sitting at the bar, and he went up to buy a beer and looked, he was sitting right there. And he was like, hey man, we're early. We're here for the show. We're really looking forward to it. We're big fans. And he was like, okay, cool, man. Like, he was a total dick to him. And I was like, motherfucker. So now every time I hear the Hold Steady or Craig Finn Silverware, I'm always like, but he was mean to Mark. You know what I mean? That's why I love the Last Podcast guys, because we're going to see Last Podcast here in a couple months, and they're super nice in person. So, like, I remember going and seeing them, and I was like, I hope they're not dicks. And they were like,
Don't be dicks.
yeah, it's incredibly. Not that I'm like desperately trying to like interact with like, you know, things I'm fans of, but you know, when you do, you're like, don't be a dick, don't be a dick, don't
At
be
the
a dick.
same, at the same time, you don't feel good supporting somebody who's an asshole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
You just don't feel good about it. Like,
It's weird though, because if I know they're an asshole, I'm fine.
right.
Like, I love Modest Mouse. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. Like, Isaac Brock, I know he's a total dickhead. Like, I know for a fact.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean? If I met him, it would meet my expectations if he was a dick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
But at the same time, like, you probably don't put Modest Mouse as like your number one band all time ever.
oof, it might be.
They might be.
They're right up there.
I mean, they're really, really good. But it's just like,
Yeah.
so if you're making a conscious effort to like somebody who is a dick, they're either super, super good.
Yeah. See, I have
Or-
seen them more than any other band by
Yeah.
far. I've seen Modest Mouse like
Yeah.
probably 10 times.
Okay.
So,
I feel like I sometimes, and it's like this might be like a wild card opinion on it, but like I sometimes like don't get too offended when someone's an asshole and they're like in the public eye, because I feel like there's this sense of like they're just protecting like their personal space in
Yeah,
life.
no, I
'Cause,
totally
you know
get
what I
it.
mean? So like, I don't know.
But like, yeah, I totally get that. If you like walked up to somebody where they're grocery shopping and like started screaming at them about how much you love them, I'd be like,
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's not good. But like, if you were sitting at the bar drinking at the bar that you were gonna play a show at in 2
Right.
hours, and someone says, "Hey, I like your music. We're here for the show." Come on,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? If that's really a concern for you, go drink in the green room or go drink somewhere else. Like if you don't want somebody to approach you at the place that they are coming to see you.
Yeah,
You
like
know?
literally, we have the venue in Pittsburgh that was Smiling Moose,
Right.
and like the bar downstairs, venue upstairs.
Yes.
And you see the performers in the bar all,
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, if you don't want to be in there, just go drink elsewhere. Go be elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like Henry Rollins, it probably wouldn't even disappoint me because, like I said, I would kind of expect it from him. You know what I mean? Say if you went to see Danzig, you'd be like, yeah, Danzig's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, everybody, and that's the thing is, you
Yeah.
know Danzig's an asshole from all of Danzig's asshole stories. Like
Right.
they're out there. If you're still just in the Danzig, well, that's which I am. Like I know
Still
he's an
like
asshole,
Danzig,
but
too.
also he's not even over 5'8", so I don't have to respect him that much.
That's true. He's a walking mini fridge.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
it's like, yeah, all right. You have some good tunes, but
He's
okay.
so annoying.
I
He's
feel
so
like one of
frightening,
you
and he
guys-
never wears a shirt.
One of you guys has to draw a mini fridge with a face on it now.
Just with the devil lock right down
Yeah.
the center of your mini fridge. Well, yes, beers. I was like, wait, where do we get on this topic?
No.
Oh, it
we
was
did,
beers.
We did beers, so we're
Yeah,
good. And
we're
we
doing
did on
Yeah.
a tangent about celebrity and hanging out with people we think are cool but are not cool and are short. Henry Rollins is also short.
Is he short?
Yeah, he's short. I've
I
met
would
him.
have guessed he's like 6 foot tall.
No,
Really?
not even. Yeah,
Fucking hell. Okay.
Really?
yeah. So again, you don't have to respect him that much. He's not taller than you. So
Steve faces 100% of his respect for people and how tall they are.
yeah. Brock Lesnar, respect. Andre the Giant, respect. Joel McHale,
Is it just
respect.
because you're tall?
Conan O'Brien, respect.
Is this Minute Bull, big Minute Bull guy?
Yeah,
Are you?
huge fan.
Are you?
Shaq, big fan.
Is it just because you're tall?
Probably.
I have a feeling this comes from something inside of you.
Yeah, but no.
You just don't like to be the tallest guy in the room all the time.
Yeah, I like to be the tallest guy per se, and then also just like if somebody is taller than me, then obviously God loves them more. So
That reminds
All of
me
a sudden, I feel like we're enemies now.
I know because it's fine.
You're average height.
Yeah.
Right. You're about what's average height for a woman?
I don't know, 4'11".
His perception on height is so skewed.
Steve thinks everyone is like 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
I just want him to start meeting people.
Yeah.
Be like, what are you? 2 feet tall?
hey, short stuff. What are you, 2 feet tall? That just reminds me. You said God loves, but it reminds me of a tweet I saw that was cracked me up. That was like, if you get a tummy ache after eating Taco Bell, your bloodline is weak and history,
yeah.
history will forget you. You're short. That means God loves me more.
You're right.
Oh gosh. All right, we have some snackies. Meg, you brought some snackies. Tell us what you got here. What do you want?
Yeah, I got some just like basic, gas station snacks here. One of them I did find hiding in my camper, so that's at least 4 months old now.
Nice.
I brought a bag of candy corn
Mm-hmm.
to torture Steve.
Yeah, that's not a torture to me. That just sits there. I don't touch it. I'm not like Superman where if I come in close contact.
What people aren't seeing is that he's staring at
He's
it.
actually getting
like,
shorter.
Yeah, no.
So weird. He's losing his
Take it
power.
away.
He's losing his power.
We've got some Laffy Taffy Laugh Bites, which are perfect. And we have some Haribo Twin Snakes, which are also one of my favorite
Listen,
snacks.
it's been nigh on 3 months since I've had candy corn, so I'm going straight for it
Mhm.
because I fucking love
But it's
the
like
I
candy
won't
4
let
month
the
old candy
root
corn.
beer.
corn. Oh, it's probably 6 months.
Yeah, I won't let the root beer candy know that you're
Yeah.
turning
Oh my
your back.
god! If I could get candy corn hard candy corn flavored hard candy,
Ugh.
ooh,
Oh yeah,
I would fuck with that. You know what the thing is here? Like, it's just a little bit stale. It's
Yeah,
actually
I like
less
it.
stale than I thought it was gonna be. I think I like it better than when it's fresh.
Well, the nice thing
Steve
too
just has
is
a look
I
of disgust on his face.
I just opened it maybe like a week ago
Oh,
after
okay.
finding it, so it was like closed
Oh,
up
so,
until
it was,
okay.
so it was sealed in with the old air to
Yeah.
begin with, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say this is not that stale. It's a little bit stale.
yeah,
Would you consider
sealed with the haunted
starting
air.
a barrel aging program for candy corn?
Yes. Short answer, yes.
Okay. Yeah, there is a company out there that does like barrel aging for coffee, so I
Mhm.
assume it works in some capacity.
Mhm. I say make the whole barrel out of the candy
I'm
corn.
terrified for your first full meeting at Sly Fox. And
Yeah.
You're like, guys, I got some ideas.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. It's already started. It's already started. In any case, I have never had these. I do like banana Laffy Taffy. We talked about how my daughter is like the
Mhm.
she loves banana Laffy Taffy. And it is probably the most popular flavor, but also I would bet the most polarizing flavor.
Yep.
I like banana flavored things.
Yeah. Same.
I don't
We
love,
definitely had a pretty extensive conversation, I think, once on this.
Mhm. I don't love the circus peanuts that you're talking about.
Yeah, because I brought up that there's marshmallow circus peanut versions of this banana flavor.
I think it's, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's food.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It seems like packing peanuts or something like
Yeah,
that.
it is some weird mush.
Yeah.
It is some weird processed thing that if like it existed in a sci-fi movie or
Mhm.
a horror movie, you would expect to be made from like the fat of people or
Yeah, yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Some Soylent Green situation.
Yeah. It's totally gross, but I can't get over it.
I
you
just
know?
had an idea as we were talking about those because I was thinking of like you put bananas on like, peanut butter in a bread or crackers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what if we had the banana like peanuts candy and just slice them up really thin and then put it on there? And I'm like, this sounds awful, but also delicious. At the
Making
same
little
time.
tiny sandwiches.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
even better. Yeah.
little
Yeah.
tiny
Like-
hors d'oeuvres of Ritz cracker, peanut butter,
little
and
tiny
marshmallow.
hordivores.
You guys will never want to be at a party I'm at or
Yeah.
I'm hosting.
You just come out and it just looks like it's Play-Doh, but you've made all these weird little. Your hands are all sticky. You're like,
And they're
"I made
all the
some things."
size.
It's me,
They're
Nick,
all
for
size
money.
for little hamsters. Like,
Instead of like Parmesan crisps, it's like candy corn that's been melted down into a disc.
Yeah. And then I take the entire tray and just slide it all into my mouth.
Go roast.
So, before we announce what won for March for our Showdown episode, I guess first thing I should say is, what is a Showdown episode? Well, once a month, we put on an episode every single week, but once a month, the first Monday of the month, we pick a topic, and it comes from our big, enormous list that is constantly growing via suggestions from our listeners and social media friends. We spin kind of a randomizer wheel. We pick 3 of them. We put it out on the social medias. And then you, listeners, social media followers, friends, will vote to help us decide which of those topics will be our Showdown topic for the month. And then each of us 3 hosts then pick a movie that we feel best represents or typifies that topic in some way. And then we talk about them, and then we vote, and then we powerbomb each other, do a couple moonsaults. Depends what the rules are. If it's no holds bar, chairs allowed, and somebody ends up with the belt for the month. So if you have not already, go ahead and follow us on the social medias. It's at Halloween is Forever on Instagram, at Hallow Forever on Twitter. That's primarily where we do the votings.
mm-hmm.
But we also have Facebook. It's Halloween is Forever on the Facebook, and at Halloween is Forever Pod on the little TikToks. Or
We're up to 26 followers.
on TikTok.
Yeah.
We are killing it. There's a discrepancy.
Blowing the fuck up.
We have almost 10,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
We have a good amount on Twitter. I don't
Close
know.
to
how
1,000.
Close to
Approaching.
1,000 on Twitter. And our TikTok is in its infancy,
Right.
and is currently at a balmy 23.
26.
26.
Stop shortchanging.
26. 10,000 to 26. There's a discrepancy. So go follow us on the goddamn
out.
TikTokies. In any case, here were our topics that got drawn from the wheel for March. They were Old West horror. This topic was called That's Telekinesis, Kyle, which means anything that involves telekinesis, mind control, all those sorts of things. And then the last one was Theater of the Macabre, which was basically anything that takes place at a theater, movie theater. It could be the opera, it could be whatever. But it was very, very close this week. In fact, because we have so many more followers on Instagram, we get the majority of our votes there. But it was so close that we did have to, Twitter would potentially change who won. Sometimes it's like so overwhelming with one of the topics winning by a landslide that it, the Twitter votes don't offset it. But in this case, that was not how it played out. And the winner for March, and what we're going to do is Old West horror.
Oh, shoot.
Which I thought was for at least the initial voting was in third place. So when I went up and looked at kind of the recap after the story was up, it had pulled into the lead, but still only won by 4 measly votes. It was very, very close.
Yeah. And then once you add what Twitter put on, because, like you're saying, Twitter can affect these things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was 1 vote for Telekinesis Kyle.
Yeah.
And then it was all Old West horror.
Really?
Damn.
So Old West pulled away a little bit, but
Yeah.
still probably within 10 votes.
Oh, yeah.
Which is pretty darn close, because we've had in the past, typically it's like votes win by like 30, 50 votes or
Right,
something
yeah.
like that on Instagram.
Yeah,
So
comedy horror for February.
yeah, I think it like tripled the amount of
Yeah.
votes for every other
It crushed
one.
everything.
So, in any case, we're going to be talking Old West horror, which I'm psyched about. I did tentatively call shotgun and or dibs, which I do not think is fair, on Bone Tomahawk, because I love that movie. But I'm actually excited to seek out other Old West horror, because I don't feel like I've seen a lot of. I love westerns.
Yeah.
Besides, like, that Pale Door movie that came out a couple years ago, which was kind of cool. Obviously, Bone Tomahawk. Bats, that sort of stuff. From Dusk Till Dawn, that's pretty much a freaking Western,
It is, but it's not really Old West horror.
Yeah, that's correct. It's not Old
Yeah.
West. That's true.
So-
Because you could say
yeah.
the same thing about John Carpenter's Vampires.
Correct.
It's a Western, but
It's not Old West. You're right.
Where does old put things then?
Yeah. Where does old start?
Yeah.
I would say pre-1889. That's about when it does the switch over.
I know, that's just such a specific number. You're not wrong. It's just such a specific number. Yeah, so it's got to be, we got to be talking like 19th century or before, probably, right? Which I think makes a lot of sense. If somebody had a movie from 1910, yes, we're gonna dock you points, but we will allow you to do it.
How much horseback is in it? How much?
Listen, it can't be all horseless carriages and all that type of thing.
I would still
Those are called cars, but
They call them horseless carriages.
Not that
back
time.
then. Yeah.
I would still consider what is it? There Will Be Blood. I think that kind of occurs in the Old West, but there's like a car or two.
Yeah, that's early
Sure.
early 1900, early
Yeah.
20th century,
Yeah.
right? But of course not horror.
Not a horror movie,
But
but
yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah.
it's at that turn of the Industrial Revolution.
Sure.
So
Whoa. That's a snappy
that was
little
snaps.
snake there. Snap into a snake jam. That's what I just did. I don't know why I did that, because now I'm supposed to be talking.
right.
But I can't control myself with the sugary sweetsies. Let's jump. Anything else that we need to talk about?
Not really, no. And just if anybody wants to take Tremors at the beginning, you can.
So
I
you
think I'll pass.
can?
Hard
Yeah.
pass.
Oh,
Yeah, it's an Old West film, but okay, so one more question while Brian chews up his snakes.
Mm-hmm. I got
And-
two of them.
yeah.
Twin snakes.
I'll throw this out there because I feel like Old West horror is the one I'm lacking on the most as well, that
Yeah.
I'm not sure about.
Me too.
But there are 2 films out there by Charles Band. And I think Brian knows what I'm going
Which
to
is
ask.
a recipe for success.
Recipe for Success. Oblivion and Oblivion 2.
Never saw them. I've seen them pop up. Never saw them.
Okay, so the thing about these movies is I don't even think they occur on Earth,
Okay.
but they are very Old West themed. Like it's
Like Westworld type Old West.
a little bit, yeah.
Old West on Mars.
Sort of, yeah.
TM.
Yeah,
guys.
think of Old West on Mars. I don't know what planet it is, but it's definitely an Old West movie.
Mm-hmm.
I would also say it's more sci-fi than horror.
Okay.
But like, say we ran into a film
Mm-hmm.
like that that is a horror movie, but it occurs on a different planet or a different time.
Yeah.
But it's still very obviously a Western film.
Yeah. I mean, if there's Old West imagery and themes and things like that, I feel like that's fair.
Okay.
You know,
I'm cool
if there's
with
a
that,
if
yeah,
there's a
'cause
damn gunfighter that's shooting werewolves on Mars,
There's gunfighters.
Yeah.
There's giant scorpions. There's whip cracking.
Yeah.
But there's also like the saloon, all the facades of the buildings and everything.
yeah,
They have ceiling fans.
yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
ceiling fans.
Just-
Yeah, ceiling fans. Just it's
All
still
right.
the old west, but they have ceiling fans
Interesting.
on the outside.
On the outside,
On the outside, like it's New Orleans.
so bizarre.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The movies rule. I love them so much.
Now
and
I
they are
gotta
so
see
bad.
them. Oh, by the way, guess what I watched last night?
There's also a lizard man.
Listen, you had me already.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Don't talk yourself out of a sale here.
I'm not.
I had last night. I finally broke down, and I didn't watch the whole thing because I fell asleep. But I'm gonna finish it tonight. I need a little palate cleanser after this here Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I did Punisher Warzone.
Hell yes.
That movie's fucking fun.
Right?
First of all, I didn't expect it because you did say that it was very like comic booky and cartoony kind of
yeah.
thing. And for whatever reason, I thought it was going to feel a little bit more like hard-nosed, grimy graphic novel type of thing. And it is gory and all that stuff.
Right, yeah.
But it's very cartoony.
Yeah, yeah.
And just over the top. It's really silly. It's really fun and silly and just, a lot of just shooting people.
Yeah. How much
That's pretty much the whole movie.
How much do you love Dominic West
Yeah.
as Jigsaw and then like his brother
Yeah.
Looney Bin Jim?
Yeah, they were real. I mean, they just felt like comic book characters.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they just nailed the tone. And I think that people who saw the more like grittier real life,
Yeah.
Punisher movies would be like, "What's this?"
Right.
And we're like, "No, this feels more like a comic book."
It feels right.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. Again, I probably have about a third of it left to watch,
Fair enough.
but
Yeah. Yeah, still just as long as you get to Looney Bin Jim, like everything flows really well after that. But yeah.
I was like struggling to keep my eyes open. I was very, very tired. It was like 1:00 in the morning. I'd been up since like 6. I was like, I passed out.
yeah,
but
brutal.
all right, let's fucking get into this movie.
Damn it, we can't talk about Punisher Warzone now.
Just switch over to Punisher Wars. Wait, you're the one who said you like this one.
That's how much I love Punisher Warzone.
That's true. You prefer that over any movie.
Yeah.
So-
Except for like Predator and RoboCop, yeah.
yeah. It's literally your number 3 movie.
Yeah.
So does anybody know anything about the director of this flick?
No, because I was actually under the assumption that it was the producer. I believe his name's Fede Alvarez.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, and he's the one who directed the Evil Dead remake.
Mhm.
So for some reason, I was under the impression that he was the one that also directed this.
yeah.
But it seems like he's just the producer and like did some script work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this is the gentleman's name is David Blue Garcia. He is from Austin, Texas. Not coincidentally, coincidentally rather. I mean, we were talking about this before because Meg's about to go down to Austin here in a minute. But I have not seen, I don't think, anything else he's done. He's not known for a ton of stuff. I mean, this is definitely his highest profile thing. He had a couple of movies that he directed. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This appears to be his first. No, he has another movie in 2018 that I never saw that he directed. Otherwise, his other things he's known for is being the cinematographer for Bloodfest. Yeah, and he has a couple of acting credits, or at least one acting credit. Just not a lot about this guy, to be honest. With you.
yeah, it seems like he was discovered
Mm-hmm.
in some fashion because obviously, like as a cinematographer, he's not bad. So
No, certainly not. I mean, that's probably one of the strongest things about the movie, in my opinion. But
yeah,
we should say that this is, although it is called Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it is basically the Halloween 2018 version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, in that it just picks right up where the first one ended, but like 40 years later, or really almost 50 years later, right?
yeah. It seemed like there was. Like they weren't sure if it was like 40 or 50.
Yeah, because I mean, from when the movie came out, we're in that like 45-ish. You know, it's something like that, right? 45-ish years ago, 1974, 76. When did the movie come out?
Yeah, I think
The
it's
original?
like I think it's like 76. And
So-
then so they're saying like the returning legacy character that isn't Leatherface is Sally,
Right.
who's in the back of the pickup truck.
She was the
at the end.
lone survivor at the end of the
Yeah.
first movie.
Yeah, and they're saying like she's been waiting 50 years
Yeah.
to like find Leatherface.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. And she has now herself become Leatherface.
in a way,
In more than one way.
that is the ravages of time.
Yeah. She, you will know her as the creepy old cultist lady in Mandy. She was the one that was very, very jealous of Mandy when she kind of got pulled in by the leader of the cultists in Mandy. And I remember her being really creepy and really good in that movie. This movie, it just felt like this was like Wish.com version of Halloween 2018 in my mind in so many ways.
Sure,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of that was on purpose.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
It just felt very derivative of that. It felt very capitalizing on some of the same, tonality, some of the same, frankly, storylines. Obviously, I mean, this was Laurie Strode, except for you just don't really see her. You see a little bit about her at the beginning, and then she comes in at the end to like be the hero, and then eats shit.
Yeah.
But she is very much doing the Laurie Strode thing, but instead of becoming like a weird prepper, she became a Texas Ranger.
Right.
And then now she's retired, but she's still like hyper vigilant of Leatherface returning, although he hasn't left his house in like 50 years.
Yeah, and he's left some house because now he's living in this small town of Harlow, living at an orphanage.
Yeah.
But it almost seemed like, because like the picture in that orphanage too, he looked much older too, so it almost seemed like he came to her
After the events of the first
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there for a minute.
Yeah.
It's just like they mention offhandedly that like she's been searching forever, but she just didn't search there.
Yeah.
And like maybe if she did search there, he was hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the whole point of this, because she matters so little to this movie, and she's in it so. I just think this was just to make fun of Laurie Strode in a way.
That's what
Really?
I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Why would
curious,
you-
like, why do you think that?
Well, I mean, spoilers. He fucking chainsaws her to death.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And she has literally no like bearing on anything.
Right.
yeah.
She comes in, she sort of saves the two leads, then gets murdered.
Right.
Like
Really
she,
quick.
she doesn't fucking matter. And I
Right.
think that was just their way of this. Also, this movie's very mean.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this was just another way to be mean in a meta way.
Yeah, it is a bit of definitely a mean-spirited movie for sure. But not. Yeah, I mean, almost in like because I like stuff that has high stakes. I like kill off well-loved, well-established characters early on. I like that idea of like anybody could die at any time. I never felt that about this. I just felt like they were trying to like make the stakes higher than they had earned in a lot of instances. We'll get into it. We're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. But so you get a little bit about Sally from the first movie, but otherwise you were introduced to this group of like Gen X, like painfully Gen X,
Younger.
Yeah.
people even.
This is these are millennials. These are
Gen X or Gen Z. I meant. Sorry.
yeah.
I was saying Gen X. I meant Gen Z.
Yeah, Gen X is older than us.
Yes,
And then-
yes. I totally meant Gen Z. Yeah. So these are like late teen, early 20.
I would say like so the what's her name? I don't remember her name.
Mel.
Maybe early
which one?
20s, early to mid 20s.
Yeah, I think they're more in our a range of like Melanie and Dante, because I believe they are like celebrity chefs.
Yeah, or
they're
known chefs in
influencers,
some
yeah, like-
capacity. Yeah.
And then Dante's wife is an influencer, and then the younger sister, whose name I forget, but she looks like Edward
Leela.
Furlong.
Leela, I think.
I thought I was going to say she looked like Carl from The Walking Dead,
Oh, okay.
especially when she puts that hat on.
Same.
Yeah.
Same thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say she's much more of the Gen Z because she's like was in school.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So in any case, they're all in that like late millennial, early Gen Z kind of range, and they very much are like the script is really struggling to make their dialogue feel authentic, and they're saying a lot of like, hey, fellow youths, they're like saying a lot of that type of stuff, and it's just, it really feels kind of clunky.
But I felt that way from the beginning, and that's I think one of the first indicators that I was like, I don't like how this feels, and that it feels like it's trying too hard in a way.
I just wrote
like,
within
from the
5
beginning.
seconds, like, I want these kids dead. That's what I wrote.
Right.
And then I said, Cheez-It product placement, I'm back in. And then they lost me again after that. But yeah, it's the whole idea is they're coming to Harlow, and they had bought up essentially what is a little ghost town that is former downtown Harlow, and they are going to turn it into this kind of like hipster capitalist commune type of thing, where they're going to open a restaurant, and they're like, we're going to have a record store and a comic book shop, and like all these like these kind of like hipster businesses, and they're kind of talking about how it's like folks who just want to get away and simplify their lives from the city, and it just feels very like hipster commune type of thing.
I expect everyone who spent $100,000 on a van to live in it would go there.
Yeah. There's going to be a whole like complex like of just tiny houses. You know what I mean? Like a whole section of the city that's just all $40,000 tiny houses.
I was surprised they didn't make the Melanie and Dante like more like tech bro-y, because that seems way more like the infectious thing that tech bros are doing at the moment of like moving into places and driving up real estate, and because like they left San Francisco and did it to Austin, and now they're moving out of Austin to do it to like a smaller town.
I almost feel I almost felt like not, and that they're approaching it that way. I feel like they're looking at, they want to be like the first of sorts and get like they care more about like the notoriety of bringing people here, because they still had to like buy one of the spots, but they must be getting some sort of deal or anything by bringing in that banker who brought that bus of people in, who would be the other people to buy the other spots. And maybe it's like just more about notoriety and just how things look, which is exactly what the influencer culture fucking is.
Like it's definitely a way to enrich themselves even further. But like they bought every plot. Like they have deeds for everything except for one specific one.
Right. Yeah, it's weird because they definitely wanted to tell this like anti-gentrification story, even so much so as like the guy who owns the little convenience store that they go into calls them something like you gentrifuckers. I was like, I don't think that's a phrase, but in any case, they're not really gentrifying. They're taking in a literal abandoned town in the desert and trying to turn it into a thing, which I'm sure there will be symptoms, will be, the whole thing will be, ultimately result in some manner of gentrification in the community. But like, I don't know, it just, the message seemed really mixed and fucking weird to me. It just felt like they wanted to tie in as many like relevant social topics as they possibly could. And one of them, which I don't know, at first I was like, this is cheap and stupid, was that the one, like I said, the young woman that we were talking about that looks like Carl from The Walking Dead, she had been a victim of a school shooting when she was in high school, and like a lot of her friends died and she survived, and she has this like survivor's guilt and all this stuff, which is like obviously a very real and very raw thing in our society. And they just kind of were like, put it in there as this flippant thing that she's going to quickly overcome and shoot somebody type of thing. And then I was like, well, that's really cheap and shitty. But then I was like, I mean, it's exploitation cinema, which is like, there's a lot of movies that I just maybe appreciate more that have, like rape revenge movies and stuff like that. It's every bit as traumatic and terrible. There's more time has passed. So I guess I couldn't blame them as much. I mean, it's pure exploitation. It just doesn't feel like something you'd normally see on Netflix or something. I
guess the thing I didn't like about that is the fact that she eventually does the turn and starts shooting or tries to shoot with a gun. I feel like that's not the character arc that should have, like, I don't mind that as being part of her character, as like she's been through a traumatic thing, so now she has the ability, or she's either trying to overcome her past trauma, or she has the ability to overcome past trauma. I just didn't like that she used the gun. Like, why not just have it be anything other than the one thing that caused their trauma?
Well, and it's also like, I don't know what they were trying to say with
Right,
that
yeah.
whole part,
Yeah.
especially with so there is a it starts out with this, and we won't go through the whole plot synopsis, but I think this is important later on. Is they pull into a gas station, and it's the group of young people, and they are this big truck nut toting some bitch comes in here with his jacked up pickup, and his very much kind of redneck looking guy comes in with like open carrying with a big handgun on his hip type of thing, and they have a little words with them, and then later on it's almost like they're coming to I know what they were trying to do, I think, which is this idea of like, when you talk to each other, we're not that different kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was never earned. They immediately just started talking to each other like they knew each other, and then he's like, look, guns ain't bad, and she's like, you're right. Like, it just, you know what I mean? The whole thing was like, I don't know what you're trying to say, but you did a bad job of it either way.
I feel like I felt a similar thing that I think we had a conversation about when we were watching Fear Street, where like talking about bringing all like the social like issues up in like so blatantly throughout this movie that it's almost like they're trying to create horror movie specifically for this new generation that may not be getting into horror.
Yeah, but it's like, it's so disingenuous.
Yeah,
Because
no,
they
for
never.
sure.
There are certain ones, like Jordan Peele, obviously, is a great example, who does it with some depth and with some candor and with some skill. And then there's other people that just kind of jam it in ham-fisted, and you don't really know what it's looking to accomplish. And this is probably already a term, but last night when I was kind of thinking about this and taking notes, I was like, this is becoming a whole subgenre of like woke exploitation movies where they're just like TM guys, Halloween's forever. But it is that's basically what it is. Like they use this terminology and all this like social discourse to just, I don't know. Does that lure people in? Does it make it feel relevant?
It relatable? Maybe.
I don't know. To me, it just makes it feel unrealistic.
Yeah. So my question, and it kind of goes back to things that I already mentioned, how like this is just it's a mean-spirited movie overall, and they're doing things in a way that like almost poke fun at other at these other legacy movies like Halloween 2018 and Kills and the newest Scream, and like are the woke elements of this film included just as a way to throw them in
as a rip,
and then poke fun of them.
I mean, if you're making a movie called Texas Chainsaw Massacre, one of the most famous cult horror films of all time, and you use it as an opportunity to punch down to other franchises, like that is the definition of cutting off your nose to spite your face.
I don't think it's punching down though, because you're saying punching down as if the other franchises as if they're below them, but they're not.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw has like it is kind of a dog shit series.
I know. Yeah, the first one. I mean, the first one obviously, and I love the second one, but I get, it has. It's like the Gremlins 2 of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It has nothing to do, and it's completely bonkers.
Right,
from the first one, but
you also got to respect it because again, it's still Tobe Hooper, and it's what Tobe Hooper wanted.
Yeah.
But then you have all these films that came after it, and like the last two before this one, Leatherface and Texas Chainsaw 3D, were fucking god awful.
I mean, but like, look at Halloween. I mean, we suffered through Halloween, 5 and 6 and all that. You know what I mean? And
I don't think 6
and
was
You shut your goddamn mouth. 6 is terrible. And Resurrection, and all this stuff was goddamn awful. So like, there's no. I mean, I think Halloween is the only one that it might be punching up to just because of the notoriety of the last two movies.
Right.
But like everything, I mean, there's not a lot of more iconic horror imagery than Leatherface.
No.
Yeah.
He's definitely like an iconic horror villain, but it's just most of his movies are bad.
Yeah, that's true. But I would say there's not, if that's what they were doing.
I'm wondering. I'm just wondering.
I don't know. It didn't
because
hit
you're saying like the stuff with the guns
and also
stuff,
it's petty as fuck, dude.
Yeah, it really is petty. But like,
Yeah.
the gun stuff is fucking petty.
Yeah.
And then like ham-fisted and pushed in there, and it doesn't make sense as an arc because, like you're saying, it's unearned.
Yeah.
There's at no point where that hillbilly character Richter,
Yeah.
like, proves that guns are useful.
Yeah.
Like, if he saved Lila,
Yeah.
from, like, I don't know, a feral hog attack.
Yeah.
From 40 or 50 feral hogs.
Yeah.
If he
Gotta
saved
take
her,
down 40 or 50 feral.
yeah, if he saved her from 40 or 50 feral hogs with his AR-15,
Yeah.
and proved that they have a use and protection,
Right.
then okay. But at no point has that happened.
No,
Like,
he just was working on
doesn't-
a car and he had the loaded
Yeah.
AR sitting on the fucking table.
Yeah, not even in his own death did guns factor in.
Mhm.
Like, he tried to go hand to hand, and
Yeah.
like got his leg broke with a hammer and stabbed in the neck.
Yeah, and then I thought it was funny that is it Leela or Lila?
I think I'm just saying Lila.
Yeah, either one. When she comes in, she sees the gun, and she's obviously like, you've seen that she has bullet wounds, like or scars from bullet wounds, and then she's like, "What's up? Is that thing loaded?" Like, she's not just like, "I'm uncomfortable, I'm gonna leave." She's like, let's fucking talk about guns. Like, I don't know. It just was so
Maybe that's just
fucking
like
dumb.
I don't know, poorly written, but maybe it's just like doomer fucking like
maybe.
young generation doomerism of just like, let's be curious about the thing that
Yeah,
you know,
nihilistic a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. But
I feel like you guys are looking so deeply into this, and part of me just feels like they're trying to get a younger crowd into these horror movies by putting these like relevant topics. Because
Yeah.
when you go on Instagram and you're seeing influencers, you're seeing school shootings, like younger people are literally doing drills and shit like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm not gonna like downplay that. Like some of the things you guys said are like accurate, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's just like, oh, I see all these things. These things all make sense to me in this setting, whether it's a horror movie or something fucking else, you know?
But hey, you might be totally right, Megan, that like the reason all of these things are included in as poorly as they are,
Yeah.
like maybe they're just included in to gas up the younger generation because like they see all these things that, you know, play into their lives with live streaming and fucking, you know, saying you're canceled, bruh.
Yeah.
And like, you know, so maybe they're just trying to gas people up, even if it causes a negative reaction online.
yeah.
But I still walked away, I think, in a lot of ways feeling so confused because I think so much was like pumped into this that didn't actually make sense. Like things you guys are talking about, like her relationship with a gun and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just putting it in to put it in though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I feel like the script reads a lot like, you know, the meme of Steve Buscemi with the skateboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it definitely didn't. It was mean spirited, but it didn't take itself seriously at all. Like there was a lot of humor in it. There was something about, she said, I would have put my face on if I knew people were coming. I would have put my face on, shit like that, which is fine. I thought it was okay. But the setting just felt really unrealistic to me. It didn't feel kind of lived in at all.
No.
It felt like you were on a movie set.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't a big fan of.
Mel really annoyed me throughout that, especially like starting at that scene where she's just getting perpetually emotional over everything. And I'm like, how does she why is she one of the last characters on this?
And how does she exist in the world?
Right.
If every little thing makes you go,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is another thing that annoyed me.
She was bad.
Yeah, but then she has like a full-on arc to going from like this panicked, like scared rabbit of like everything that upsets her sends her running to like having the bravery to like, you know, get the keys and all that, and then, you know, kind of face down with Leatherface to even just jumping on top of Leatherface's back.
Yeah.
Like she becomes fully actualized through trauma, and that's just like, it's happened before, but like she started at such a low point.
Yeah. She was, if Leela or Lila or whatever was the wish.com Carl from The Walking Dead, that what's her name that you're saying is the wish.com maybe from Arrested Development.
Yeah, Melody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is definitely trying to pull off that look, I feel like. But yeah, it's just the whole, the one thing I can say, some really sick kills.
Oh yeah,
absolutely some great kills, some great effects. I mean, there was definitely some CGI stuff going on, but overall, super brutal, super violent, super, I thought, unique kills. I'm usually not that, like, I like that. You know, I'm looking for that, but it's not the thing that drives the movie for me. And I think that's a sticking point for a lot of people. Is for some people, I feel like it is. It's just like build up to kill.
Right.
And so that's probably why some of the only people that I saw that liked it were the people I think that were either that type of person, or people who were like they were just being shitbird, just going against the grain, kind of going like they like to do the why can't we let people like things, that type of mentality. It's like, let me dislike it, you know what I mean? It's a piece of art.
Why can't we be critical of art
that was designed to be talked about, on the internet? That's 100% why this movie exists.
Why we haven't talked about it yet, and I'm really upset about it, that this isn't being talked about all over the internet, is when Leatherface is going after Mel and she's underneath the floor and he cuts open the shit pipe.
Got the poo on me.
And then just squirts poop on her head. And then she gets on the bus and no one's like, oh my God, you smell like shit. You know what I mean? She's just like, oh my God. And someone like hugs her. Yeah. You just got a big plop of shit on your head a second ago.
You should be respectful and be like, don't touch me right now. Like, I smell like shit.
Yeah.
So rude.
The whole plan of the investment and bringing the bus full of people out to the whole thing is so flimsy. Like, it just doesn't make a goddamn bit of sense. It's so stupid. And I get it. It's just a way to get, people out into, this isolated environment or whatever.
Did you feel like it was pretty predictable? Like, I feel like the moment the bus was around, I'm like, yeah, a lot of people are going to die on that bus.
Well, 100%.
Well, I saw it in the trailer. So
yeah. And also the dumb thing is, like, why the absolute fuck? What? Oh, we're not there yet. Give me a quick break. But there's a couple things I was like, God damn, that was just shoddily done.
That bus scene is probably the worst.
It's so bad. Yeah. It's so bad. There were a couple cool elements, but they threw too much at it.
Yeah.
And more of it fell apart than worked. But I love that you just are like Sally, who we know Sally from the first movie. Sally got away in the first movie because she had the best cardio. Because she took risks. She just launched herself out the damn window. Right. And luck. Right. That's what happened to Sally in the first movie. Now she's fucking Lou Diamond Phillips. Like, now she is just like, I get it. You became a Texas Ranger or whatever.
She's La Bamba?
Yeah, she's La Bamba. No, but she's Chuck Norris, or she's something. I said Lou Diamond Phillips because we were talking about bats.
Right. Yeah.
But you like, she's that now. Like, it just doesn't make any goddamn sense. Like, at least Laurie Strode fought back. She stabbed Michael in the goddamn neck with a knitting needle, in the eye with a knife. Like, at least she fought, and she is fight or flight. She does that so well. She's running away until she gets cornered, and then she stabs.
Yeah.
Sally was run the entire time.
Yeah.
And now she lives up the road and fucking, like, she's not even from there.
Yeah. You don't even go here.
You don't even go here.
See, and again, I think this whole arc with Sally is meant to, one, poke fun at Halloween a little bit.
Maybe.
And two, poke fun at just, like, the fans of all these, like, legacy appearances.
Yeah.
Of, like, bringing back people who would be so old. Because at this point, like, Sally is definitely way older than Laurie
60,
Strode.
70 years old. Yeah.
So they're making fun of people who want all of these characters to return because it makes them feel safe and nostalgic and whatever. But, like, you're right. She had, like, it wouldn't make sense for her to be a Texas Ranger. It wouldn't make sense for her to stay in Texas. It wouldn't make sense that if she confronts Leatherface, the only thing that does make sense is that she's an old lady. She should get chainsawed.
Or she just shoots him and instead goes, tell me you remember my friend's names.
Right. And that's the specific making fun of Halloween part, where it's like, because we find out in Halloween Kills about how it wasn't about Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
So that's definitely making fun of that, because, again, Leatherface doesn't remember her, nor should he. He's a fucking he's a mentally ill mad dog.
Yeah.
Like, why would he remember?
There's no
her?
mystery about what's going on in Leatherface's head, like there is with Michael Myers.
Yeah, he's a mentally ill mad dog cannibal.
Yeah.
Why would he remember this lady from when the fuck
and
ever?
Where'd she get that brand new Polaroid of her and her friends that's 50 years old? It was like crisp, like it just popped out of the machine.
So she had the original Polaroid. Then she transferred it to her computer in the 90s.
Yeah.
Then she got one of those Insta cameras and took a new one.
Yeah, apparently.
Off the screen.
Yeah. This movie sucks.
Doesn't.
I like that. I like when he's looking for the thing. I don't know. I'm poking holes in places that they don't even need to be poked because there's so much other terrible, stupid shit. But they didn't kill her. They keep acting like they killed her. His mom or the caretaker.
Yeah.
they keep acting like they killed her. Like they're going, we killed her.
Yeah.
No, she had a heart attack.
Right.
You came into her house. Yes, were you rude? Yes, were you over aggressive with this old sickly woman and all that stuff? Maybe, perhaps. But the cops came. If anything, the cops killed her.
Right.
You definitely didn't kill her. So, like, why did we all concede that they deserve to die because they killed her? I don't know. It was so flimsy.
It's flimsy, and it's just like they're trying to portray some sort of like chain of responsibility.
Yeah.
Because had they not tried to buy the town, and then had they not tried to
It's the whole
evict the woman,
gentrification story
right?
thing.
And then the other thing is like you do find out that they actually didn't own her house,
right.
So they were wrong in going into her house and causing her stress,
Correct.
and then calling the cops on her. So they were wrong in all that.
She
But-
would have lived for 20 more minutes at least.
Exactly. She had like clock was ticking on her.
Yeah.
What happens if
Someone
they,
opened the door and she died.
Yeah. How does this movie change if
Yeah.
they say, "Oh, we don't have the deed for this lady's house,"
Yeah.
and then she fucking dies during the auction,
Mm-hmm.
and Leatherface like finds his dead mom and comes out? Like he still does the same shit.
Yeah.
Because he's again an unchained mad dog cannibal.
Right. I had a couple other written down. The other Wish.com actors here, Ruth, who was Dante's fiance.
Yeah.
She was Wish.com version of June Diane Raphael.
A little bit, yeah.
And then I say Dante is the poor man's version of Jake from State Farm.
I had Dante as Wish.com Michael B. Jordan. So-
Okay. Well, I don't even think he's in the realm of Michael B. Jordan. It's like there's Michael B. Jordan, there's Jake from State Farm, the
Right.
one that's on the new commercials. He's 20 feet down from Michael B. Jordan. Then another 10 feet you get to this guy. There's a degree of separation, but yeah.
It's funny you said it, Ruth is the character's name, right? But
Yeah.
like also Melody is almost like a Wish.com version of Ruth from the Ozarks.
I
You've
haven't
seen,
watched
if
the
you've seen that
Ozarks.
show, okay. Well, somebody's laughing at that.
Pause while they catch their breath.
Yeah. Let that person enjoy their laugh, Brian.
I'll tell you the one thing this flick does have: first-rate gurgling noises.
Hell yeah.
They had a great gurgling guy.
Yep.
Everybody who killed was like choking on their own blood like crazy. Yeah, the kills were good across the board. Like that's the thing that kept kind of bringing you back a little bit. Even the shitty CGI ones were kind of fun. Like when the like tall, super pretty investor woman comes and she gets like cut in half and then like her guts slide out of the window.
That was one of my favorites.
Yeah, that was good. But why were they all? It's like as soon as he walked on, instead of them like just like kind of running past him while he was obviously busy hacking everyone up,
Yeah.
they all acted like fireflies in a jar.
Yeah.
Like they all just ran to the end where they could see out and banged on the glass.
Yeah, they all just ran away in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Like nobody was
And then
climbing
banged
over
on the glass like somebody was going to help them out.
Yeah.
Like it was so fucking
and
dumb.
nobody was climbing over the seats. Nobody and like nobody was even trying to attack him. Like
No.
even at like close, you know.
They were
here's-
standing there in line waiting to be massacred,
Right.
basically.
And here's the thing, Brian. As we've all grown up in the 9/11 times,
Mhm.
we know that when you're on an enclosed tube
Yeah.
and somebody comes on with a sharp object, let's roll.
Yeah, right. They would all, even if they are a bunch of like turd hipsters with
Yeah.
their phones up or whatever, fight or flight's going to kick in for a couple of them.
Right.
They're going to start, gouging at his eyes or something.
Yeah.
Instead, they all just,
They all
hurt
just
against
bumped,
the back.
Yeah, they all hurted in the back, bumped against him, bumped into him.
Yeah.
Like that's how Lila gets away because one is just a clumsy ass
Yeah.
and bumps her
Slipping
down.
on a banana peel.
Yeah.
Guys, these are Gen Zers, whatever they are.
Exactly. They don't know, let's roll.
They can't
They don't know about
kill
rolling.
someone with a phone, so it's not going to happen.
The you're gonna be canceled, bro scene was exactly as cringy as you
Yeah.
thought it was
Yep.
gonna be in the fucking trailer. One time I did laugh out loud was when they were back in the house and I'm just gonna call her Maybe because that's
Yeah,
okay. She gets the fucking full-on Harry and Marv treatment.
Hell yeah.
And gets booted backwards down the steps and literally does the same like stunt pratfall that Harry does.
Well, she
Or-
doesn't get booted. He throws a fucking hammer at her.
That's
shades
right.
her head, yeah.
But anyway, she just goes literally halfway down the steps, just flat out laid out on her back like
Yeah.
a fucking wet bandit.
Through the
and-
floor.
Yeah, and I lolled pretty hard at that.
That's the thing. A lot of people have been criticizing why doesn't Leatherface act old?
Yeah.
And he totally does, because the number of times he throws things rather than chasing anybody. That's what old people do. They throw things.
I was ready for him to be at the bottom of the stairs setting up some micro machines.
Right.
So this was the part where I was like, this is really genuinely doesn't make any sense. And I don't know if it just didn't cut together right. But the bus driver scene, like first of all, he doesn't turn the headlights on.
Right.
And then he's like driving way slow. And then they never explain why he opens up the door and gets off the bus.
Well, there's a chainsaw. Like, or Leatherface was like, I think he was going to check to see what that was because he couldn't see it.
I know, but it was just so dumb when they're like, you know, something dangerous has happened.
Right.
The woman said, don't open the door. Like something bad is happening. And he's just like, gets off the bus. And then the second he gets off the bus, it's like the second his body goes out of frame, his head flies back on the bus.
Pretty much.
It's so fun. It was the world record for fastest fucking. He decapitates people like Gen Zers stack cups.
Yeah.
Like he just
And just like even in the sound design, you hear a real quick saw rev.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, and then that
It would
was
be-
it.
It would be funny if actually Leatherface, I'm imagining, standing there off screen and he's choking, you know, he's putting the choke on. He's like, what's going on? You know, maybe it's got to fiddle with the spark plug or something. I don't know. And he revs it. And the guy just at that moment puts his neck on the blade.
Hey, you got a problem there, sir. And then just leans
Hey, let
down
me
to
help
look
you.
at it.
Let me help you with that chainsaw. Vroom, and his head flies back on the bus.
Like, ooh.
Save that one for the next scary
that
movie.
one was legit an accident. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, whoops. Well, anyway.
Yeah. The whole bus scene we talked about is just a goddamn disaster from beginning to end.
Also, so, I mean, maybe help me remember, but like, so one of the things is like, obviously everybody holds up their phones and they're live streaming to Periscope or whatever kids do nowadays.
Periscope.
Pretty sure it's
Really,
on
Steve?
Periscope.
Oh my god.
But they're getting feedback instantly.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of people in the feedback like, oh, I've seen scary or haunted houses. Is this real? That looks so fake.
Yeah, I want to go here. Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah. So, like, this is the scene with the worst effects.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like referencing a better movie within your movie, but they're referencing like these look like bad effects and then show you really bad effects.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what else to say. It just doesn't make any sense. Like tonally, it's all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
The whole scenes, the whole like sequence is a fucking disaster. It's like you want for a second, I'm like, oh, this is really starting to get so bad it's fun a little bit. And then you remember that they're trying to make this movie with all these kind of like political and social commentaries. And then I'm just like, yeah, once you've referenced like and did put in like a fairly traumatic scene about a school shooting,
Right.
you've lost your chance at like kitsch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it seems disconnected.
Yeah, yeah.
Not to like I said, exploitation horror is exploitation horror. It's kind of no holds barred a little bit. You know, if it's in bad taste, it's in bad taste. But it just felt disjointed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. There's like the thing with exploitation horror is that it was done on a very independent level, and it was the for all the movies that we know from that era, because they came out with some sort of charm, or some sort of
uniqueness
thing
at least
that's so over the top and like nobody would fucking do that.
Yeah,
but this is a film on Netflix, made by somebody who's already had like their chance with like Evil Dead.
Yeah, isn't like Legendary Pictures part of this too?
Legendary Pictures,
it's huge studios and stuff.
So this isn't somebody just throwing something at the wall
to get people's attention.
Right.
Yeah.
So they know what they're doing by incorporating all this shit. but at the same time, like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too.
It's so weird to say that even as an exploitation piece, it feels disingenuous, because to say exploitation is disingenuous is
Right.
almost an oxymoron.
Right.
But this feels like a disingenuous homage to exploitation horror.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it feels like they're trying to capitalize on someone else's idea instead of just an idea that is exploitative. They're trying to capitalize. Like it just feels yeah, I think you hit it on the head. It lacks the freshness of a real bad idea.
Yeah. It lacks the freshness of a real bad idea, and it also lacks the lack of a safety net.
Yeah.
So because like there's all these things in place that will keep the film on track
Mm-hmm.
of like and just even looking at the runtime, it's 83 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So it's very possible that a lot of things got cut because maybe they were too mean or too, out of the realm, something that was too extreme.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. Like this exploitation, it doesn't fit because it's factory made exploitation.
Yeah, that's a good summary for sure. I wrote down the story felt like it was a B story that got made into a video game adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Remember like in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, they like took properties and made video games of them.
Yes.
And they just were like very loosely based, and it felt like they had the rights to like certain elements, but not all the characters. And they would make this shitty video game like version.
And you have to invent boss fights that didn't happen in the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just what it felt like a lot to me. But yeah, I thought it was also when she picks up the shotgun, when like Lila or whatever picks up the shotgun, she had already conquered her fear of guns, I guess, or whatever, because she picked up the AR and then it jammed or it was not loaded or she didn't know how to use it. I don't know. And it was like this climactic thing. Is she going to do it? Is she actually going to use the gun? She uses it. It doesn't work. Then they just do it over again with the shotgun. It's like, hasn't she just overcame that?
Yeah.
A second
Do you
ago?
think at all they were trying to like, in a way, like thinking they were gonna like pass the torch or something? Like, okay, so this Sally character gets killed immediately, but now we need another Sally type character.
Well, she doesn't die. That's the weird thing. Because
that was bad. That was a bad. I mean, we ultimately know she definitely died. But
Yeah,
like
but
that was
for you to get your just almost be like bisected by a chainsaw,
Yeah.
and then be like, I'm still alive.
Yeah.
See, it's stupid, but it made me laugh simply because I watched another film that did something very similar very recently.
Yeah.
So we did Dead Snow.
Yeah.
And like recently, Tommy Vercola, I think that's how you say it. But like he put out a film called The Trip.
Okay.
And just like in that film, somebody winds up guts first on a lawnmower. But that character like survives and like drags himself
jeez.
around and talks and like so like he still has moments after being
Oh, God.
so it just reminded me of that and just made me laugh again. So I was like
It was
terrible.
After she's maybe, I get it, she's like got to be in her 70s, but she's maybe the worst Texas Ranger of all time.
Right.
If you get bum rushed by Leatherface in an open area,
Yeah.
you deserve whatever happens.
Right.
Like he's the one guy you shouldn't worry about that with, you know? And then, but you know what? Like I said, she survives because apparently she has bionic organs or something like that.
Something.
But
Or her organs are just so shriveled he missed all of them.
they're all like 1/10 the size of
Yeah.
regular human organs. Yeah.
This is just an actual like PSA for drinking water.
Yeah. She didn't even die from the chainsaw. She
Right.
died from dehydration.
Right.
When he like all that blood, that was 100% of the moisture in her
Yeah.
body.
It was all her moisture just gone.
She actually weighed like 48 pounds. She was essentially a mummy.
Yeah, all of the garbage bags soaked up all her moisture and took it from her. This was the garbage bag's fault.
Oh my gosh.
The garbage bags were too absorbent.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, it's just I could just go on and on about how much I hate this movie.
I feel like it was just like a horror movie not for horror fans.
It was a horror movie. It was a horror movie with a beloved franchise, or at least a beloved movie or a couple of movies. that was made for Netflix, which kind of sucked. I mean, obviously they don't hold any of this, nearly as sacred as any other, any horror fan probably would,
no.
which is like, it is what it is.
Well,
but
although, to be fair, I think this film, because this film was advertised a long time ago, like before it ever hit Netflix.
Yeah.
So I think it's just that they came down on Netflix as a distributor because they knew like this wasn't going to do theaters.
Yeah.
Like, this
you're probably right.
So I think
in the past this would have got a theatrical release.
I think it's just Netflix doesn't give a shit about what they put on.
Yeah.
Rather than them actually having a hand in putting this on. Like they didn't.
Yeah. Honestly, this movie might age well. You know what I mean? Like it might in 20 years, people might be like, oh yeah, that stupid fucking movie rules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They probably will.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing it now where like people all of a sudden are like, oh, Halloween H2O. And I mean, well, that's a long time ago.
You know what subgenre it's going to be?
Yeah.
Influencer horror.
Influencer horror. There probably is going to be,
Something.
I would imagine.
Social media horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that I feel like already is almost its own, fully fledged subgenre. But
yeah. I think for me, because like I still like it. And it's just, if you can put on the blinders of ignoring the more cringe elements, like I wish that bus scene didn't exist. It's fucking awful. But like if you can put on the blinders of removing that and kind of blocking out what anything is supposed to mean, because honestly none of it comes down in a meaningful way.
No.
If you block all that shit out, then you have like just a really mean-spirited slasher that also does not hold anything sacred, meaning Sally. And I think that's enjoyable because, within that you have decent, gory effect kills. And like, it's not the best Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, but it's way better than some of the other trash that's in this fucking franchise. So.
Yeah, you're probably right. I guess like also too, like maybe it's because it got hyped a little bit more than some other things you thought. And I genuinely like the look of Leatherface in this movie. Yeah. So I guess that
looks
made
like
my expectations a little high.
Mrs. Nussbaum.
Yeah, a little bit. Mrs. Nussbaum. Did you see the meme people were making where it was Mrs. Doubtfire with the whipped cream all over her face?
Yeah.
But that was a good one. I will say, I didn't hate the final scene, not the post-credit scene, but the final scene. It's very stupid. It's very wildly stupid. But it was just like, I love that they were just like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're driving away. First of all, the self-driving car. You just had all this stuff. You're desperate to get out of there. And then you're like, you know what? Let's try this feature out again. And he just put the self-driving electric car on. And then he pulls her out, cuts her head off. She's standing out the moon roof going, no, as the car is driving her away.
Right.
Super slow, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, very slow.
Yeah, like 10 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And then he starts doing his signature dance. And then he has, it's basically the ending, but like of Terrifier a little bit, where like the chainsaw like does like a like institutes the cut.
Yeah.
The cuts, the jump cut. It was really fucking dumb, but yeah, I was just like, that was actually the best ending I could ask for.
Yeah.
But,
I think it was really satisfying. It was silly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it's a genuine, like, kind of jump when he rips her out of the car.
Yeah.
I like the way Leatherface moves about in this film, too.
Yeah, I thought that I don't even know who played him, but I feel like whoever did a really nice job.
I did look, I forget his name, but he definitely just has this very cop-like look.
Yeah,
like just like his mustache.
He doesn't look like Gunnar Hansen at all. Like he's not shaped like him.
Mark Burnham.
Okay, I don't know who that is, but he definitely made it his own a little bit. Okay, yeah, this guy, I've seen him before. What have I seen him on? He definitely just looks like a muscle for a mob. I feel like I've probably seen him in a mob movie or something. Let me see.
I mean, I've seen him in Wrong Cops and Low Life, so yeah, he's definitely kind of just
character actor.
He's a character actor that has that cop look, like Meg said.
Yeah.
But and I guess that's one thing I didn't like that they didn't need to do is they spent so much time at the beginning of the film, and maybe this is just them again, like killing sacred things just to do it, just to make people mad.
Yeah.
This one got me.
Yeah.
You got me. There you go. But they spent all this time about saying how Sally doesn't know what he looks like. Nobody knows what his face is.
Yeah.
And then they show his face. in
Yeah.
like a completely throwaway scene.
Yeah.
That like you could have taken it out. It didn't need to be in there.
Right. Yeah, it was
It was just like what?
yeah, it just reeks of don't give a shit.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it is what it is. I wasn't mad I watched it. I mean, it was a piece of shit, but hey, I watched a lot of piece of shit movies and enjoy them just fine. I did not watch the post-credit scene.
It's nothing. It's
Yeah.
it's Rambo going back to the farm.
Who goes back? Who does?
It almost
Leatherface.
looks, yeah, Leatherface goes back to a house, but it almost looks like Sally's house.
No,
It
because
didn't?
well, maybe it was Sally's house, but it just Leatherface goes to a farm, and I guess you assume either it's the Sawyer farm or maybe it is Sally's, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's it was
Just a throwaway thing at the end.
Just a throwaway thing. There was no real implications, at least from my point. I thought he went back to his own farm, which made nothing for me.
Yeah, I didn't hear. I heard today. I saw somebody say something about the post-credit sequence, and I was like, I got to go back and watch that, but I'm probably not gonna.
Yeah. Now
I just feel like there was too much time after the credit. You know, once the credits, it was like 9 more minutes. So I was like, I'm just gonna fast forward through this.
Yeah.
it wasn't 5 minutes, so maybe there's
Once it was over, I was just like, eh.
Yeah.
And then I was like, ooh, Punisher Warzone.
So I think maybe just we're settling on that. You know, it's not great, but it's whatever.
It's not the worst movie in the world.
One thing I think we can say as a really bright high note of the film, though, is the soundtrack and the sound design that's done by Colin Stetson.
Yeah.
That dude is amazing when it comes to like horror soundtracks anymore.
Sound design was great. I'd have to go back and pay a little more closer attention to the. See, I'm like that guy in. Look, when I listen to songs, I listen to lyrics first, and when I'm in the movie, I'm listening to dialogue, and it helps with the atmosphere, and it definitely is there.
Right.
But until my second watch, I feel like I don't get a good grasp on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Unless something's like really, really painfully obvious, which there was a couple scenes or a couple famous songs in there that I was like, okay, yeah, it was like super recognizable songs and stuff like that, which now I can't remember what they were, but there was a big one early on, wasn't there?
I can't. That's not what I was really focusing on.
Yeah.
I was thinking more of just like the sound design, because like Colin Stetson was he was like an experimental saxophone artist.
Oh, interesting.
And you can go online and watch. There's a video called Colin Stetson Breaks Down Judges, and Judges is one of his songs. And like as an experimental saxophone artist, he had a thing where like he had his microphone he had his saxophone mic'd up, so he got like the percussive elements of the valves closing, and then he has like a little voice box on his throat, so even though he's playing, he's still screaming while he's playing.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty
he
neat.
creates these nightmarish soundscapes.
Wow.
It's
That's
great
cool.
stuff. And then so he's done the sound for Hereditary, and I also think Midsummer.
That makes sense. Those
Yeah.
ones are like the music, the sound design is in Midsummer creates all the dread in certain scenes.
Yeah.
You know.
So I think he did both of those Ari Aster films, and then he did Color Out of Space
Oh
with
yeah,
Nick Cage.
that one was great as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I got to rewatch that movie because I watched it and I remember liking it, but I feel like a lot of it went in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I feel like there's just a lot. I know I was high on mushrooms when I watched it, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I was like, it's just a lot. I think to like conceptualize.
Mhm.
Yeah.
To jump back real fast, I just googled it real fast. They make it seem like it could be Sally's house, but they're basically assuming that it probably was like the original farm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, I don't know. Even thinking about it, it kind of makes sense in ways of like there might be another one. I could see that.
Yeah,
being
what
another one.
happened to the rest of the Sawyer family in this world in this
You just assume they
timeline?
die though, because like
Yeah, like dad would be like 100 years old.
right, he'd be more.
Yeah.
Easily.
Well, grandpa would be like
Oh yeah,
150.
yeah. Dad would be 100. Like grandpa would be like approaching 200.
Yeah, he was a million years old in 1974 or whatever. But yeah, you know what? Like I said, I turned it off going, God damn, fuck. That sucked. And then I watched Punisher Warzone, and then I woke up going, you know what? It wasn't as bad as
Yeah.
You always have a more raw response, you know, as soon as the credits roll.
Yeah.
And my initial response was, God damn, they just fucking wasted a good opportunity there, you know?
I saw someone on Twitter ask the question, like, what do you expect this to be?
Yeah.
You know, like, because if you look at the entire franchise,
Yeah.
yes, the first one's a masterpiece,
Yeah.
and the second one is Gremlins 2.
Yeah.
And then after you lose Toby Hooper for the most part, like, the thing goes off the rails. I really do like 2003.
Yeah.
The remake.
I like that one. Okay.
Yeah, I really like that one.
I just
especially,
watched that one like this past summer, maybe, or something.
Arlie Ermey's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And again, that's more mean-spirited dread, and but like, all the other films, like, what do you expect from this franchise at this point?
I don't know, something about like the lighting in the first one and even the 2003 one, it just really communicated this like dirty, grimy,
just dark,
old
unpleasant.
West. Like if you're like the sun, it feels like the sun never stops beating even at night kind of thing. And you just didn't. Yes, they talked about how hot it was, and you were in the desert and stuff. But it just felt like they were on a set where 100 westerns were shot.
Right.
You know what I mean? On this one, it just had no atmosphere. It didn't feel lived in at all. But I remember even the 2013 one did do that a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, even you're thinking about, I remember, I'm not a huge fan of the Hills Had Eyes remake. I like it fine. But that kind of dirty, grimy, almost Breaking Bad did a good job of it too, and this just didn't have that. It felt like you were at Old West Town at fucking Disneyland.
Yeah. I think, like, going back to the 2003 is, like, everybody's sweaty in that one.
That's what I'm saying. It looks like everyone stinks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly,
like everyone's sweaty and
everyone has a
sticky
smell.
and grimy, and just like that was like, that's when, if somebody said like one word to remember or to summarize the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I would just be like, it's just fucking grimy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I love about it.
Right, yeah.
And this just was too slick, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely suffers from that being too slick, and yeah.
But
even Leatherface 2017, I think, does a little better job of like making it look like people stink.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's sweaty and sticky a little bit.
They do spend time with the production design of like people stink, and then like they also got like the older cars. I like the design on that one. It's a stupid film.
Yeah, it's a dumb movie, but visually it definitely feels closer to the original. This one didn't. This one felt like you were on like I said, the video game thing was the analogy I made, or you're on a Texas Chainsaw Massacre ride at an amusement
Universal
park.
Studios.
Yeah. So, in any case, absolutely worth a watch. If you got a Netflix subscription, you're not going to be mad if you watch it, but don't get your hopes up too high.
Yeah.
Probably, right? There are worse movies.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's way worse movies.
Yeah, especially on Netflix, but Tubi for life. So that being said, do not forget, and frankly, I know, speaking for myself, I have not decided what I'm going to do for the March Showdown.
Me either.
I said Bone Tomahawk, and I would love to do Bone Tomahawk, but I feel like I want to go out and see what else is out there, think about what I'm missing. So if you have any Old West horror movies, throw them our way on the social medias, DM or comment on something or whatever you want to do to let us know what we should watch and consider for the March Showdown. Otherwise, we're gonna have an extra fun episode for you next week. I won't spoil it, but that mini-sode is gonna be a lot of fun for you. If you get a chance, follow us on the social medias at Halloween's Forever on Instagram, at Hal Forever on Twitter, Halloween's Forever on Facebook, and give us some more suggestions, because we'll be talking about April before you know it. And then you know what? Spring will be about to be sprung. And you know what that means?
I don't want none if you ain't got no buns.
It'll be, I think of summer for whatever reason as slasher season. The camp slashers. I get back into Friday the 13th.
It'll also be coming up on our 1 year anniversary.
Oh my God. How are we going to do? What are we going to do? I don't even
go to
know.
an actual camp and kill people.
Yes.
I am not agreeing.
We're going to do some sort of weird, like,
for whatever
murder
happens
ARG.
After this.
Not like an overnight camp, Meg. You can still, go home and sleep in your bed. We'll do like
Steve's
day camp.
just gonna kill all the short people.
Yeah.
Don't be under 6'5".
It's just going to be called Camp Short People, and Steve's the killer. Oh, by the way, we're making a movie.
Camp Short People.
Camp Short People. Check us out on our Kickstarter. All right, but if that's all we got, boys and ghouls, thank you for joining us for another mini-sode. And for the Halloween's Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm taller than you.
Bye.